Hello everyone and welcome to Capitol Watch for Friday, February 27th, our weekly look at the Missouri General Assembly. And joining us from our governmental relations offices in Jefferson City is our Associate Executive Director for Advocacy and our Chief Lobbyist, Mike Reed. And Mike, before we get into talking about legislation this week, obviously a shocking development this week with the untimely death of State Auditor Tom Schweik, and that really has rocked Jefferson City and the whole state of Missouri, for that matter.
Oh, certainly. It is a very, very tragic situation. The auditor has worked with numerous school districts and was a straight-up guy. Sometimes you argued with him, but you always knew where he stood. This is going to change a lot of things in the state of Missouri and the political landscape. But we feel very, very sorry about this, and our sympathy is extended to his family and his friends. It's a true tragedy, and we're very, very touched. All of us in Jefferson City are very touched by this.
Mm-hmm. And of course, he was a candidate for governor as well.
Yes, he was. And what does this do to the governor's race, and what does this do to the primary? Does this open it up? Lots and lots of questions are coming out right now. No answers. But it's going to be a really interesting ride for the next 6 months to see exactly what happens and what this fallout from this is.
And Mike, now the procedure is for the governor to appoint a new state auditor, is that right?
That is correct. He will appoint a new state auditor, and that person will serve out the remainder of the term, which is in almost 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Turning to legislation now, Mike, once again this week, the focus was on the student transfer issue, and the Missouri House took action on a bill this week, didn't they?
That's right. Both the Senate and the House worked on the transfer bills, and the House passed their transfer bill, House Bill 42. This bill has a lot in it that we like. It was a lot of hard work from numerous people on the committee and House leadership, and we appreciate them pushing this through. And so this is a bill that has a couple of tweaks perhaps left, but is really a very good bill, and we can live with the bill as it is passed. It now goes to the Senate, and we'll see what happens in the Senate. But it is a good start.
Mm-hmm. And one of our major concerns with student transfer legislation this session, Mike, has been the expansion of virtual schools. So is the House bill narrower on expanding virtual schools than the Senate version? Is that correct?
The House bill, yes. The Senate actually started with a virtual expansion throughout the state of Missouri. It reduced that to some extent, but the House bill has virtual education working with only those districts that are unaccredited, provisionally accredited, or after 3 years with a certain score would be unaccredited. So it narrows the scope of where virtual schools can be located and that situation. So yeah, so it's a much more workable situation.
So where are we on the Senate side, Mike, as far as the student transfer bill?
The student transfer bill in the Senate has not been third read yet, which means it has not passed the Senate, and it's being held up right now until a bill sponsored by Senator Pierce dealing with school foundation formula and the proration factor is discussed. That bill was heard in the Senate Education Committee on Wednesday and reported out. It should be discussed perhaps as early as next week. After that discussion, I look for the Senate Bill 1, to be voted on and passed in the Senate and sent to the House. And so then sometime in the next 4 weeks, the House bill will be worked on in the Senate bill will be worked on in the House, and eventually a conference committee will be formed to craft a bill that has parts from all of those.
Mm-hmm. Another issue that suddenly has emerged this session, Mike, is anti-bullying policies and anti-bullying legislation, the result of an incident that occurred in the Liberty School District. Does that issue have a lot of momentum now because of that incident?
It does. The House had a bill, anti-bullying bill, that had been heard and came out of committee on Thursday and had a lot of momentum on that already. The incident in Liberty, whatever happened, and a tragic incident, added momentum to this, and was discussed on the floor of the Senate. There's a lot of movement on bullying and anti-bullying and making sure that districts have policies in place, and most of our districts do have a policy in place. But there's going to be further work on that, and there's a tremendous push to make sure that kids are protected in school as we want them to be protected in school.
Mike, as we look ahead to the coming week, we have the first of our School Board Advocacy Network days coming up next week. Tell us about that and why that's important.
Yes, it's extremely important. On Tuesday, we have the first of our S-band visits. This gives a chance for our members to come and talk to members of the General Assembly. The greatest thing that the General Assembly says to me is, look, you have elected officials who come down, and we're elected officials. We have the same constituency. We all have to go back to the electorate to be elected, and we all have people we represent. And so it's a one-on-one. It's extremely important that our members let people in Jefferson City know how their actions affect the local school district. So when something is passed in Jefferson City, be it a bullying bill, be it a bill on teenage suicide, being it how much money gets paid and how the money is distributed, that's extremely important to our members, to let the members of the General Assembly know that their actions affect students in their district.
Mm-hmm. And so we have several more School Board Advocacy Network visit days coming up the remainder of the session. And so be sure to check our MSBA website for that schedule. And if at all possible, please make that trip to Jefferson City. As Mike said, those contacts are very important. Mike Reed, as always, thanks a lot for being with us. And we'll be keeping you up to date on happenings in the General Assembly as we work our way through this legislative session through our Legislative Voice newsletter that you receive in your email on Friday, through our critical issue alerts, through our daily blog, and of course through this program. Thanks a lot for joining us on this edition of MSBA's Capitol Watch.